I don't know. I don't know. I thought I don't even I again, there's a call-in link if you guys want to call in and rant. You're more than welcome to. I don't understand what the evaluation process was. I would love to hear these people that sit in suits and make millions of dollars. I would love to hear what their evaluation process was for Mike Norvell. Sorry that I talked for the first couple of minutes without anybody hearing me. Because what did they see from the Stanford game until now to give um, him another year? I think that's the biggest question. We listen. We all know about the money. We all know that the team hasn't been good enough. We all understand that they have 7 wins in 2 seasons. Remember, Bobby Bowden got fired for having 7 wins a year, right? 7 wins in 2 seasons. We get that. All that is there. What did they see from the last few weeks that made them think, yeah, this is our guy. This is the guy we want. Like, did they watch this thing high? Were they on drugs when they watched these last few weeks? I've been told they understand how the fan base feels. I've been told that they get the public sentiment. I've been told that they understand the frustration. And I mean, they don't give a shit. They don't care about you. They don't, your money is not enough to matter. You're anywhere from 70 to a couple $1,000s a year. That's a drop in the bucket. That doesn't matter. But they were going to do this thorough evaluation. We're going to meticulously evaluate this program from top to bottom, and we're going to have a decision for you by the end of the year. You know what I think that was? That was bullshit is what it was. Sorry if you got the kids in the car. I know it's Sunday, but they were lying to you. There was no thorough evaluation. There was no evaluation done at all. What they were hoping was that this back end of this schedule was bad enough that he could win enough games and they could say, see, we went on a little bit of a streak. We beat Wake Forest. We beat Virginia Tech. We beat Clemson. We beat NC State. We beat Florida, who quit. We won 5 games to finish this thing out. We got to 7 or 8 wins. That's what they were hoping. When they told you that they were going to do a thorough evaluation of this program, they were lying to you. Michael Alford, Peter Collins, President McCullough, whoever made these decisions, right? They were lying to you. They were never going to do a thorough evaluation. They just had to say something because you were pissed off after Stanford. And then what was FSU hoping? Well, you got a bunch of teams that are under 500 to end the schedule. You got several teams that their coach has already been fired. You got several teams that have already quit. They'll win enough games to we'll get to 7 or 8 wins and we'll bring them back. They were never going to evaluate this program because they don't give a crap about this program. They just don't. They don't care. And that's what, when they said after Stanford, we're going to do a thorough evaluation, they were lying through their teeth. Because any sensible person, any person that has watched football for more than a year understands how bad this is. And certainly any person who bleeds garnet and gold likes Florida State. Rivals that don't like Florida State understand where this program is. And so when they were telling you that, they were doing the same thing the committee did 2 years ago. Hey, we're leaving Florida State at 4. We'll leave them where they're at. That way they'll lose to one of these last games in the Swamp or against Louisville, and then we can drop them. We won't have to do the dirty work. Florida State was never going to do an evaluation. This was never about how the team looked over the last couple of weeks. I'm telling you, they were lying to you. They were absolutely lying to you. We're going to evaluate things. We're going to see how the rest of the season goes, and then we'll make a decision. If they meant that, they would have seen how the last 4 games have played out, and they just said, yeah, man, this ain't good enough. But that wasn't it. They weren't evaluating crap. They were hoping that Mike would win enough games so that they could say, look, man, we finished on a hot streak. We won 4 of our last 5. We beat Clemson. We beat Florida. We went on the road and won in Raleigh, a place we haven't won much in the last couple of decades. That's what we'll do. That's the way we'll do it, guys. Let's lie to them and say, we're going to evaluate. Let's give them some hope. Let's keep them coming to games. Let's keep their money flowing in. And then at the end of the year, when he's won 7 or 8 games, we'll keep him here. Well, unfortunately, Mike Norvell is who we thought he was. He can't build a roster. He can't staff a program. And they lost. They lost a couple of times as a favorite. They lost one time at Clemson, who had just gotten 46 points put on them by Duke. They thought that they could get away with it. They thought they could lie to you. And then they thought they could get to this point that we're at now, and Florida State would have won enough games. And let's be honest, we said it when it happened. Hey, if he goes out and wins a lot of these games down the stretch, and they beat Wake and Virginia Tech, and they beat Clemson, and they beat NC State, or they beat Florida, if they win 5 games, yeah, they're not firing him at 8-4. We were frustrated at 4-4, but we all understood that they weren't going to fire him at 8-4. And I thought there was a pretty good idea that they wouldn't fire him at 7-5 either. And then you get to the end of it and you say, hey, wait a minute. They didn't win 8 games. They didn't win 7 games. They probably aren't going to win 6 games. They did get to 5. Congratulations on getting to 5. But they were never going to evaluate things. That was the biggest lie that someone's ever told you, is that they were going to evaluate the program. That was BS. It just wasn't real. It was an alternate reality. It's made up. It's fake. Ultimately, they understand the public sentiment. They understand how the fans feel. They understand how you guys are feeling right now. And they said, you know what? We don't really care. We don't really care. What did Pate tweet? Somebody just said, don't look at Pate's tweet either. I'll pull it right up while I'm doing this and take a look at it. We're live. I have no script. I have no thoughts. I don't have anything else to say. I don't have any new thoughts on this. What was Page's tweet? Just about Lane? I don't have a lot new. Other than I truly think the administration lied to you. And they lied to me. And they lied to the media. This evaluation time period, this evaluation time frame was a complete farce. It wasn't real. It wasn't based in reality. It was never about the standard. It was never about the results. Florida State could have lost to Wake Forest. I guarantee you Florida State could have lost to Wake Forest, and he'd have been just fine. What they're going to do, I hope, is they're going to save $8 million by not firing him this year, and they're going to fire him next year. All of this, put your fans through hell to save $8 million. And that's if Mike wouldn't get another job. If he gets another job somewhere else, which he probably will at a group of 5 or somewhere more fitting of his services, you'd probably owe him about $5 million. You're going to save about $5 million. It is the most unconscionable thing that I've ever seen in my life. Bobby Bowden used to got fired for winning 7 games a year. And Mike Norvell has won 7 in 2 years. And against 3-8 Florida, who just lost by 0.5 to Tennessee, he's an underdog in that one. You think they're going to go on the road and win in the swamp? Do you think that's a realistic possibility? It's sad because we care. There's a country song that comes to my mind, and I think it's called If I Didn't Love You. And it's basically saying like, well, if I didn't love you, then it wouldn't be so hard. Or if I didn't love you, I wouldn't miss you. It wouldn't be that hard, right? If you were just in it for whatever. But the thought of the song is if I didn't love you. Yeah, if you didn't love FSU, you wouldn't care about this. The tailgates are still the same. The Osceola and Renegades still plant the spear just the same. The uniforms still look great, unless you hate the new uniforms and the logo. Then maybe you don't think they look great. But all of that is still the same. But because you actually care about football, it sucks. And it hurts. And it's not fun. And there hasn't been a fun weekend in Tallahassee since Bama. We got one this year, thank God. I did get a super chat. I'll put it up here on the screen. I don't even know what sound to play. What here we go. Here's a good one. That's the most fitting. I'm done, says Kyle 850. We just turned into Nebraska. end the NIL donations, end booster memberships, boycott the games, incompetent admins. Listen, I'm not here to tell people how to spend their own money. We've always done our very best to support FSU's NIL. We've always done our very best from the very first couple of podcasts we had of trying to encourage booster membership. But if you're at a point now, ultimately what you're paying for when you're signing up for the boosters or you're signing up for NIL or you're doing this, you're going to games, you're supporting, you're buying equipment, you're buying. I, we've won 7 games in 2 years. This is what I wore today. I wore FSU gear. What you're doing is you're paying for entertainment, right? When you support FSU athletics, you're paying for entertainment. Just like when you go to a movie, just like when you go out to a nice restaurant, just like when you go to a concert, you're paying for entertainment. And if you're at the point now where you are not being entertained by the product and you decide that that is not worth your investment anymore, I don't have a problem with people who say, yeah, this is not enjoyable to me. I don't want to pay for this entertainment. Not telling you how to spend your money, not telling you what you should do or shouldn't do. I'm not begging people to cancel their booster memberships or anything like that. But what I'm telling you is that when you get to a point where you no longer agree with how something is run and you don't find any value in it, if you don't like a movie, I would tell you not to go see the freaking movie. If you don't like a restaurant, I would tell you not to go spend your money at that restaurant. If you don't like a certain artist or brand, if you hate Taylor Swift, don't spend money to go watch Taylor Swift. Don't listen to her albums. And if people feel that way about athletics, their local football team, their favorite college team, the high school team down the road, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if you feel that way about athletics and you don't want to spend your money on it because it doesn't bring you enjoyment and pleasure and pride, I can't blame you. It's the same thing. Especially, and it's so much worse because if you don't like Taylor Swift, right, or you don't like this actor, or you don't like this restaurant, you don't have an impact on what that restaurant serves. You don't tell Taylor what to put in her songs. You don't tell actors what movies they should be in or aren't in. You have no impact there. You're not funding them. The boosters are Florida State Athletics is funded by the donor. That's how they're able to survive. You see the posts all the time, built by boosters, right? If you're telling them, hey, we don't like the way this is being run, and then they run it an opposite way, and you choose to donate your money other ways, I don't blame people. I'm not saying that this is what I'm going to do. I'm not trying to encourage people not to donate. Listen, Florida State's in a rough spot right now financially for sure. They need the donations. There's a part of me that says, look, if you want to be better, donate. But if you also don't have faith in the people that are running the money, I don't know that it really matters too much. So I get that sentiment. Kyle, I ain't going to tell anybody, no, this is the time you need to buckle down and give more. Listen, that's a hard thing to ask people to do, man. That's a hard thing to ask people to do when you feel the standard has fallen as far as it has and the leadership in place at every level doesn't give a crap. That's a hard thing to ask people to do. So I get that. I get that 100%. Let me try and scroll through some comments. All aboard the lane train. That must be a UF fan or an LSU fan because God knows we don't have the sense enough to do that. No words came through with all aboard the lane train, but I feel like playing the sound again. Thank you, all aboard the lane train. We appreciate it. Let's see here. Oh, all aboard the lane train came in again. Listen, you do 2 super chats. We'll play 2 sounds. They're only saving about $10 million by keeping him. They will lose more in donations and viewership. Franklin was the clear choice. It makes no sense. Listen, we did several videos on how I thought James Franklin would be a good choice for this university. I don't know that I need to rehash that. It's water under the bridge now, or it's maybe piss under the bridge now. Water seems like too good for us at this point. But yeah, I think they had options, and they looked those options dead in the face and said, no thanks. They will lose. Yeah, they're saving $10 million. because you hear the rumors about Gus and Tony White and the staff going here and there. They're saving about 10 million for keeping him. A little bit less because if he got another job, obviously the money goes down a bit. But they are saving money by keeping him about 10 million because we all kind of know how this is going to go, right? Is this not Napier 2.0 keeping him for an extra year? And at least they got to 8 wins. Yeah, this is an interesting spot to be in, man. You've got a top, 15, 16 recruiting class. So he still can't bring talent in. Got a quarterback that can't stay healthy, can't hit the broadside of a barn. You got wide receivers that can't catch the ball. You got a kicker that can't kick. You got a special teams coach that's absolutely atrocious. You got a defensive line that's losing its best player to the NFL. You're going to have to rebuild an entire offensive line. Hope that your good players stick around, which they've done a pretty good job of retention. So maybe they will do that and not lose, Chroma and the guys that you want to keep for next year. But yeah, it ain't a good spot. It ain't a good spot, Lane Train. I feel you on that. Listen, I'll be positive for a minute. I do really like this couch. I like being able to, I'm usually in the office. It's hard chair, the chair's soft, but not the most comfortable chair. But I don't know, man. Let me send something real quick. There is a call in link in the description if anybody would like to. High school players, Mike was fired. If we kept, listen, I like the Desir twins. I like Danzy. I like Chroma. None of them are good enough to consider keeping Mike. Like, I don't mean to be a jerk by that. Like, is Usman Chroma, he's not as good as Dalvin Cook. Is he as good as Cam Akers? Is he as good as, is he like Devontae Freeman level, James White? Like, we can get players. So, if they retained this guy for the Desir twins and Chroma and a track star and Danzy, they're dumber than I thought they were. So no, I don't think so. I don't think that's the reason they did it. Again, I don't have a lot else, man. I've been on for 20 minutes whining and getting myself more worked up and spiraling even more than I had. But yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. I guess the big takeaway is the evaluation period was BS, and this team finds ways to lose games. They aren't led very well, and that is, it's a sad place for FSU to be in. You know, it is a very sad place for FSU to be in. Now, I will say this. Maybe this is a good way to wrap up. I I think I'm not done. Like, we're still going to do the show. I'm still going to go to games. I might go to more away games. Maybe that makes a little more sense. Though I love being in Doak. Maybe road games are kind of the way to go at this point. But I will try to let this go. I will try to not. I will say every pod that we've done from the Pitt to Stanford game on, we have talked about why Florida State needed to move on from Norvell. At this point, I will give up that. Right? I will try and be a little bit more of a good soldier, I guess, understanding that we are not living up to any kind of standard. But I guess there's no real reason to continue to beat the drum because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. Yeah, this is a great point for those that still want to contribute. Let me play the sound again. We, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to throw it away. Um, yeah, you can always donate to FSU basketball and baseball. A great option for you. If you would like to support FSU athletics, you can do that. Matthew, how's it going, bud?
Okay, Matthew, you get to move this.
Matthew, you at home today? No school? Matthew, can you hear me? Matthew couldn't come in. If he comes back, we'll try and get him in. You can certainly donate to other places. If you still would like to support student athletes, you can donate to the Coaches Club, and you can, direct funds directly to a program. That would be my recommendation. I'm a member of soccer teams on right now, up 2-1 against second seeded Georgetown. About 21 minutes to go. I'm a Coaches Club member and would suggest everyone to sign up. I'm a Coaches Club member to soccer, softball, and women's tennis. So if you still want to donate to FSU and give to student athletes, those are great options for you, and I would encourage everyone to do that. Matthew, how's it going?
Okay, sorry about that. So we're in the middle of cleaning our house right now, preparing us for Thanksgiving, having family over, which are all Florida State fans. So
So it sounds like y'all
that'll
have
be
a great
fun.
Thanksgiving. What's your? Let's not talk about FSU, Matthew. What's your favorite Thanksgiving side?
I don't know, $54 million.
I dude, I've always been such a big fan of sweet potato casserole. That's like my jam. Just to let you know, just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. How you feeling, man, after this announcement?
Um, Freaking horrible. So my parents met at Florida State. My mom was a military kid from Panama City. My dad grew up a Miami fan. They met at Florida State. I would not be here. I would not have never been conceived. They would. I would not. I have garlic
Dude, Matthew, your service is
in my
terrible.
blood, and now
Your Wi-Fi or your service or something is not very good. Matthew's frustrated, but his service is bad. So we'll get Matthew on Tuesday, I'm sure. Listen, it's Thanksgiving week. I wanted to get on here and rant a little bit. I don't have much else. I know we got a lot of people in here, but it just is what it is, man. They don't care. The admin lied to you, and that's the end of the story. They told you they were going to evaluate. They didn't. It just is what it is at this point. I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll talk to you soon. Shout out Sleeper. DFNS gets you 100% match up to $100. Tallahassee Ford, Guthrie's, all the folks we normally give love to. We will talk to you guys soon. We will do a live show on Tuesday, 10 a.m. Well, actually, I don't know exactly what time, 9 a.m. maybe. We'll see. We'll see what time that is. Come and join us. Call in. I want to hear you guys rant then. Talk to you later.